The Royal Choral Society is stepping away from its normal concert repertoire, which includes works like Messiah, Elijah, Verdi Requiem, etc. And we're getting in the groove with a lot of cross-culture musical performances, South America, the USA and Puerto Rico, prisoner of war camps in Germany, Sanskrit texts from India. This will provide a cultural melting pot for our audience and covers a diverse range of musical performance, which we think will be very exciting to perform and very engaging to listen to. The Royal Choral Society will be performing two works by Ariel Ramirez, the Argentinian composer, on October the 19th in Holy Trinity, Sloane Square. The first of these is a work which was premiered by the Royal Choral Society in the 1990s, and Ariel Ramirez himself was present. The other work, Navidad Nuestra, is a setting of movements concerned with the story of the Nativity. And both of these works are based and composed around Argentinian and South American, including Peruvian, but music from the Andes area of North Argentina. Both of these works are based on dances from that region, folk music style. So there will be some guitars playing, and there's South American percussion and all the instrumentation that Ramirez put into the work. The idea of Misa Criolla came to Ramirez following the Second Vatican Council in the 1960s, when the text of the Mass could now be spoken and sung in the native language of the country. One of the reasons why Misa Criolla became so successful and popular was because of the recording made by Jose Carreras, which has sold millions of copies around the world. Navidad Nuestra is a depiction of the story of the Nativity, but as it were set in Argentina rather than in Bethlehem. We have the same Nativity story itself, preceded by the Annunciation, the journey to Bethlehem, the shepherds, and the three kings who, for gifts, bring alpaca wool rather than gold, frankincense, and myrrh. All of these settings clothed in a sense of Argentinian folk music and all the traditions of the Northern Andes. This music is quite different from our normal repertoire and is full of vivacious, upbeat Argentinian folk music style, and something we've been longing to do since the choir sang it first 25 years ago nearly. Most people know the name Gustav Holst because of his most famous work, The Planets, which endures as one of the most popular orchestral works of the 20th century. But there are other aspects to Holst, including his study of Sanskrit and his involvement with Indian culture, which he was very interested in the early part of his life. Holst bought a collection of Hindu texts called Vedic hymns, and these contained the Rig Veda poems, also Hindu texts, which he became immersed in and wrote 4 settings of these Vedic hymns known as the Rig Veda, and we're going to be performing the 3rd collection in our concert on the 19th of October. These are wonderful settings, evocative and inspirational, and evocative of the Hindu culture, the god of fire, the god of water, and beautifully set for women's voices. Everybody knows the musical West Side Story, without question one of the most successful and popular musicals of the 20th century. And Bernstein's genius was to combine the colours of the Puerto Rican dance with the jazz music of young America. And we're going to be singing a medley of the best known songs from West Side Story. The Australian composer Percy Grainger was nothing if not eccentric, and one of his more eccentric pieces actually featured in the last night of the proms this year. We're going to be performing 3 of his folk song arrangements: Shallow Brown, I'm 17 Come Sunday, and The Lost Lady Found. He's also known for his arrangement of An English Country Garden, of course, perhaps best known for that. And the extraordinary feature of these songs is the way he gave instructions to his performers, but also the inspirational genius of his piano accompaniments, sometimes going as far as sounding like Stravinsky, but very lively and full of energy and invention. Benjamin Britten's Ballad of Little Musgrave and Lady Barnard, written in the weeks immediately before he started working on Peter Grimes, was set to a medieval ballad. There are various versions, some far more gruesome than others, but he sent it as a composition to a friend of his who was an officer prisoner of war in the Second World War in Germany. And I was able to conduct it myself about 30 years ago, when one of the original performers from the prisoner of war camp was in the audience. It is a beautifully written, vivid and deeply felt story of upper class and lower class combining uncomfortably. The servant boy, Little Musgrave, is involved with Lady Barnard, who she clearly prefers to Lord Barnard, and they go out into the countryside together, and they are discovered, and Lord Barnard sends out his men and they kill both of them. And the very moving end of this tale is that they are buried together, but he says, "Please lay my lady on the upper hand, for she comes of the nobler kin." The Royal Choral Society will be performing this concert at 6 o'clock in the evening in Holy Trinity Church, Sloane Square. You'll be able to come and immerse yourselves in the cultures from many different traditions, and it'll be a very spirited and enjoyable event, and you'll be able to follow it by going out and having a good dinner afterwards.